Welcome to this AQA GCSE Sociology revision blast. Today we're covering theory and perspectives, looking at things that could be on both of your papers. We're going to start off with a round of true or false. So our first statement is, key goals of feminism include equal pay, sex discrimination and recognition that a woman's primary role is that of a child bearer and homemaker. Is this true or false? We'll just leave it up on the screen for a moment before we reveal the answer. So key goals of feminism include equal pay, sex discrimination and recognition that women's primary role is that of a child bearer and homemaker. Is that true or false? It is false, okay? We hopefully recognise that the first part of that is correct, but the rest of it obviously is not. Number 2, liberal feminists are generally more positive about improvements that have been made to equality than radical feminists. Is this true or false? Let's reveal the answer. It is true. True or false 3. The following sociologists all belong to the feminist perspective: Weber, Marx and Wolbe. Is this true or false? Hopefully this is quite an easy one for you. So let's reveal the answer. It is false. So Sylvia Wolbe is the only one now that is from the feminist perspective. Number 4. Previous waves of feminism have won the right for women to enter higher education, enter elite professions and to sit on a jury. Is that true or false? Let's reveal. It is true. And finally, the status of women in the world today is that of first-class citizens with full equality. Is this true or false? Let's reveal the answer. It is false. In some countries, women are seen as second-class citizens and have very little permissions to do, even to study or to go out without a male chaperone. Okay, we're going to move on to a picture grid activity. You're going to see 6 questions. As each question is answered, sections of an image will be revealed. You've got to try and work out what the image is. So our first question is, who are the owners of the means of production? So what's the term that we're looking for here? Let's reveal the answer. It is the bourgeoisie, so all the ruling classes or the upper classes. Next one. Okay, so we've got like a little bit of a picture coming up there. Not very easy to distinguish what it is. Differing interests of social class groups. So what could that term be? So differing interests of social class groups. Let's reveal the answer. It is class conflict. Okay, so again, we've got a little bit of more of the image coming up here. Separations of individual from society. What's the key term here? Or the key, so we've got the definition. What key term does that match? Separation of individuals from society. Let's have a look. It is alienation. So we can also sort of think about social exclusion there. Let's reveal the rest of the image, or the part of the image. Slightly squashed image, but I imagine lots of you are starting to recognise who this is. The labour of this group is exploited by the ruling class for surplus value. So who are we talking about here? Let's reveal the answer. It is the proletariat, or the working classes. Increasing difference between the lives of different social classes is our next definition. So what key term does that go with? Increase in difference between the lives of different social classes. Let's reveal. It is the polarisation of social class, and we're said to be experiencing that in the UK at the moment. And then our last one is a lack of awareness that one is being exploited. What's the key term for this, where you are not aware that you are actually being exploited? It is false class consciousness, the idea that you were not really aware that you're being exploited because your ancestors, your parents, your grandparents experience the same thing as you. So who have we got on the screen? Hopefully we all recognise our picture of Karl Marx. Okay, obviously the founder of Marxism, one of our founding fathers of sociology as well. Right, let's move on to our next activity. On the screen you have got 9 key phrases. You've got to work out which ones you would associate with Marxism. So we've got some concepts here. We've got the warm bath theory, instrumental expressive roles, correspondence theory, school as a bridge between home and wider society, gender socialisation, family provides free labour, the family is a safe haven, the myth of meritocracy, women absorb frustrations of men. Which of those would you associate with Marxism? So you can just note down the letters and the numbers. Just give you a moment. Okay, you might want to pause this if you need a little bit more time because we are just about to reveal the answers to you. So if you need to pause, please do that now. So which ones do we associate with Marxism? So family is a safe haven, the myth of meritocracy, the correspondence principle, and the family providing free labour are all concepts that we would associate with Marxism. Right, so which of the following key theorists are most associated with crime? So we've got Merton, Willis, Cohen, Weber, Carlin, Devine, Ball, Heinesen and Becker. Which of these key theorists are most associated with crime? Again, if you need to pause the video, please do. So if you haven't done so already, pause the video if you need a bit more time because we are about to reveal the answers to you. So we've got Merton, who looked at the idea of strain theory. We've got Pat Carlin, who looked at gender deals as to why women do end up in prison. Frances Heinesen looked at women's lack of opportunity to commit crime. We've got Albert Cohen, who talked about status frustration between working class boys, and Howard Becker, who looks at labelling theory. He talks about the self-fulfilling prophecy, but he also talks about the concept of master status. Right, let's move on. We're going to do a round of red herrings now. So which of the 4 items is the odd one out and why? Number 1, middle class people are naturally cleverer and work harder. Matching the right people to the right jobs. Some jobs are rewarded with higher status and privilege, and we need the most skilled and committed in the most important jobs. So just take a moment to have a look at those again. Which one is the odd one out and why? Let's reveal the answer. Middle class people are naturally cleverer and they work harder. So the other 3 are all to do with role allocation and they are part of Davis and Moore's theory there. Whereas we do have some new right theorists who believe that middle class people are naturally cleverer and therefore they work harder. Number 2, capital punishment, custodial sentence, community service, tags and curfews. Which of those is the odd one out and why? Okay, let's reveal the answer. The other 3 are sanctions used in the UK. So capital punishment is the idea of people being sentenced to death, which we do see throughout the world. We haven't seen it in the UK for a number of decades now, but obviously like a really good example of where it is used would be somewhere like the USA. But even across the USA, it isn't used in every state. So being sentenced to death for the most serious of crimes. Number 3, ritualism, conformity, innovation and rejection. Which of these is the odd one out and why? Okay, let's reveal the answer. It is rejection because the others are responses to strain according to Merton's strain theory. Number 4, comfort and emotional support for adults, primary socialisation, male and female roles are similar and balanced, and sanctuary from the stress of everyday life. Which of those is the odd one out and why? So if you need to pause, please do, because we are about to reveal the answer. It is Male and female roles are similar and balanced. So the others are to do with the warm bath theory from Talcott Parsons. Male and female roles being similar and balanced is Wilmot and Young's symmetrical family concept. Right, last red herring is foster solidarity through PSHE topics and assemblies. Schools provide a positive function. Rates of truancy and exclusions are low. Private school reinforces the class system, and education is more work focused. Now, which one is the odd one out and why? So we'll just give you a minute to have another read of those. Okay, let's reveal. It is private schools reinforce the class system. So the other three are all functionalist views on schools. Remember, functionalists believe are a consensus, a theory. They believe that systems and social institutions like schools provide a really positive impact on society. However, Marxists believe that private schools reinforce the class system and actually they make us more divided. Okay, we're going to move on to a connection wall now. This one is going to need you to pause the video when I give you the instructions. So on the screen, you have 16 phrases that are all linked to the functionalist view. You've got to decide which ones are to do with education, which ones are to do with families, which ones are to do with crime and deviance, and which ones are to do with social stratification. Okay, so 4 statements or key terms are linked to the functionalist view of the family. 4 are linked to the functionalist view of education, 4 are linked to the functionalist view of crime and deviance, and 4 are linked to the functionalist view of social stratification. So pause the video and note down which ones go with which group. What you then need to do is obviously restart when you're done, and then we will go through the answers. So if you haven't paused the video, please do so now because we are about to start revealing the answers. Right, let's have a look at these groupings. So our first group we were looking for is the functionalist view of the family. So the functionalist view of the family includes the key phrases. So stable satisfaction of sex drive, meeting members' economic needs, biological reproduction, and socialisation of the young. So they are all linked to Talcott Parsons and G.P. Murdoch's functions of the family. We then asked you to have a look for the functionalist view of education. So let's have a look at what we should have got for that one. We've got society in miniature and social cohesion. Both were phrases coined by Emile Durkheim. We've got the idea of secondary socialisation and teaching you how to achieve status, which again was linked to Parsons. So we now want to have a look at crime and deviance. Strain theory, collective sentiment, acts of punishment act as a deterrent, and the idea of anomie, where there is no rules at all. And therefore, right at the end, we have got our social stratification topics. We've got the poverty as a form of motivation, social mobility, meritocracy, and role allocation. So again, all linked to the functionalist view of stratification. Right, we're going to do a 60-second countdown now. You have 60 seconds to match the research to the researcher. Match the letters on the left with the numbers on the right. Let's start our timer now. Okay, did you manage to match 5 studies to their 5 authors? Let's have a look. We've got interviewed women about their role in the conventional family. That's Anne Oakley for A4. B3, observe the impacts of setting and streaming in schools. That was Stephen Ball. C2, wrote about the social class system and why people obey authority. That was Max Weber. D1, interviewed women who had criminal convictions. That was Pat Carlin. And E5, conducted surveys about the organisation of the family. That was Wilmotting Young. Right, our last activity is 10-second countdown. We've got 3 of these. You will have 10 seconds to answer the question on the screen. What is the name of a feminist perspective that believes women raise children to benefit the economy?
Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition.
It is our Marxist feminists that we're talking about here. Number 2. Which group of feminists believe that we are making progress with gender equality via socialisation, education and legislation?
Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition.
It is our liberal feminists. And our last question is, name 2 ways in which women are disadvantaged in their life chances according to feminists.
Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition.
Okay, so we have here low paid work and also part-time work, which obviously makes it more difficult for those women to actually earn more money, and therefore their life chances are more limited than men. Right, well done for getting to the end. So we have covered a number of different topics today, looking at theory and perspectives, and obviously these can come across both of your papers. If you haven't already had a look at some of our other revision blasts, please check out the playlist on YouTube, and obviously we'd like to wish you good luck for those 2 exams.